Welcome to this week's episode of Let's Talk. Today I have with me Leilani Hardman, someone I've known for quite some time. She resides in the great state of Illinois in Springfield.
Mhm.
And to make it even better, Leilani is actually my daughter. So we're going to talk for a few minutes about, some of these big talk type items. Okay. So, but before we begin, how's everything going?
Everything has been going well. I've been adjusting to my new job. The temperature is finally getting warmer. It was a nice 45 this morning when I got up. And
Shorts
now it's
weather.
like 50 something. So I was like, oh, this is nice.
Yeah.
So it's been good besides that.
Okay, good, 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 good.
Yeah. Actually
Well,
about to make a trip down to Texas.
oh yeah, that's right. We'll be
Hmm.
seeing you real soon.
Yeah,
Like
Monday.
Monday. Yeah, that's
Hmm.
right. Yep.
Hmm.
So get a space available for you so you'll
Yes.
have some place to lay your head at night.
And I'm so excited.
Yeah, looking forward to seeing you.
Same.
Yeah. So I have a question for you.
Okay.
And this kind of kicks off into these big talk questions. And the first one is what do you hate most about being an adult, or as you all say these days, adulting?
Ooh. Sometimes it feels like adulting is trash, and I feel like even people who have been adulting for a long time can even relate. And now they move into places of, who wants to adult? And I think the part that I hate most about adulting would be who makes the rules of what you have to
Yeah,
do as an
right.
adult. And whoever makes the rules, I feel like isn't even there to police the rules. It's just these rules set in place that as adults we're supposed to follow, and sometimes it just doesn't work that way. I don't think
Yeah,
there are rules that, that fit everybody being an adult. So I think sometimes it's what I hate the most. Why can't we just do things and whatever makes it, I feel because you're an adult, that should make it being an adult. So whether I decide to do A, B, or C, I'm an adult doing it.
right.
So I'm doing adult things. And I think that's what I hate the most, that there's rules set in place, but the being able to make your own rules and say, no, I don't want to follow those rules. I'm going to do it my own way kind of negates that. But that's what I
Absolutely.
hate most about being an adult, I think, is that there's rules behind being an adult.
Yes, there are.
Mhm.
And along with that, there's a lot of financial obligations and responsibilities that come along with adulting.
Mhm.
how how do you feel about those newfound responsibilities?
I feel like credit is a scam. I feel like other countries don't do credit scores, but we do credit scores.
Right.
That's always just been one of those things. It's still sometimes hard for me to wrap my mind around how I feel like if you have the income and you can pay for said thing, then that should be what matters. But no, there's again a made up adult system and number that says you have to have this number to exist in this certain type of space.
Gotcha.
Um, and other countries don't do that. Can you pay that bill? Can you afford the rent? It's yours. Can you afford the car? We see you've got a job, it's yours.
Right.
Um, I think finances normally really play a big role, I think, in most people's like that adult side and those responsibilities. Yeah, those finances is a big one.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
And along with those financial responsibilities and just things in general, sometimes we feel like I'm tired of adulting. I just kind of want to get away. I need an
Mhm.
escape.
Mhm.
So what do you do, or where do you go when you look for, to escape? What do you
Ooh.
do? How does that look for you?
I love a good book. And I feel like that is such a good way to escape because someone else has created a whole other world. It allows you to enter that world and you can exist in that space where you want to. Are you a bystander watching this happen? Do you feel like you're the main character as this is happening? Do you feel like someone has written what you would have written and imagined? It's just a way to kind of zone it out and you immerse yourself in this world and you're not thinking about the bills. You're not thinking about work tomorrow. You're not thinking about, all the other stresses that come along. It's just a way to kind of like check out.
Yeah.
So I love
Yeah.
reading.
Oh, I get that. That's
Mhm.
awesome. It gives you an opportunity to just kind of, escape reality and move into
Mm,
a different realm and just really immerse yourself into, the either a character or a scene or something along those lines. So
yeah.
yeah, I could see that as being a good break and a good way to escape all of the pressures of life that are on all of us, really.
Yeah.
Um, so you are now, you're like in relationships and
Mhm.
you or not relationships, you're in a relationship.
Mm.
And that's going well. And sometimes in those relationships, people have tendencies to do different things, like maybe they write letters to one another,
Mhm.
or even outside of just romantic relationships. And it's not probably not so common so much anymore, but back when I was growing up, as the old folks say,
Uh-huh.
what we would write letters to people that we knew from loved ones
Mm.
that were far away. So it could be like grandma, aunts, uncles, cousins, whatever. We used to
Mm.
do that, but in today's age, that's not so much of a thing. But sometimes it still does. People
Mm.
still do that. So in terms of like writing letters to loved ones or people that you love, when was the last time you did that?
Ooh, I do like writing letters. I feel like I don't do them enough. Maybe we should kind of get back to writing letters and things, but I actually wrote a letter to my boyfriend almost maybe a year ago in March.
Did
And
you mail it?
yeah, I mailed it. I mailed it. I wrote a letter. We had an inside joke, so I actually printed it on a piece of paper and wrote it out, wrote like a letter out and mailed it
Hmm.
and mailed it out. And I got one in return. So that was really
Oh
cool
wow.
to like, like that waiting, right? You're waiting, or we're so used to things coming so quick to your
Right.
phone, to whatever. So it's kind of cool to like have like a letter come, like you can open up and read. And you think about in the wars and thing, and people that waited months to get letters, months
Right.
to someone. If some even got anything at all, they never maybe heard from that person again.
Right.
But that was the last time I wrote a letter, and it's actually a lot of fun to like really, there is no backspace, there's no
You have
delete,
to
there's
cross
no
it out.
if you I like did three different ones. I messed up. I didn't like the way I wrote, so I like scrapped that one. And I wrote another that I misspelled a word, and I was like, oh my God. So then I did another one,
It was like at the
like
very end, and you had to like
literally
write
like
the whole thing.
PSSSS, like. And so it makes you think like in those movies when you see people like writing stuff, they have the trash and it has all
Right.
the papers, like that's what it looked like until I got the letter that I wanted to send. I'm like, man, we have it so easy. We have it really
Yeah.
easy.
Yes, we do. Yes, we
Yeah, but I
do.
did. I wrote a good long letter.
That's awesome. I think back to back when I was a lot younger. I used to. This is back when I was like a real young soldier, and I was like deployed. I used to have these things called any soldier letters, and you know, people, citizens, across the United States would just write letters in and send
Oh.
them to various units that were, stationed in Saudi
Mhm.
Arabia and other areas during the Gulf War. So, I got one of these. I received a letter from a lady by the name of Julie Graves. She lived
Mm.
in Oklahoma, and so we started corresponding with one another. And I would write a letter and send it off, and of course it took like 2 weeks before she
Yeah,
even got it. And then it would be like another week or so before I would get a return. So you're talking like a whole month would
it's
go
wild.
by, between the various
Mm.
correspondence. So long story short, we stayed in contact throughout the entire wartime that
Oh, that's
I was
cool.
deployed.
Hmm.
Yeah. So, and it's wild now when I think about it, but actually when I returned back to the States, she invited me up to her place in Oklahoma,
That's
where
nice.
I went to go visit her and her fiance, and they were like
Oh.
kind of welcome me back
Hmm.
to coming back. So that was one of those things that is probably like the end of an era,
Yeah.
kind of like the end of an era, but it was very common to see something like that during the Vietnam era,
Mm.
during the World War II era, World War One, where that type of correspondence would take place. And not in my case, it was with a total stranger, but in other people's cases, it was like with their wives or their
Mm.
girlfriends, or their other close family. So I think you were on to something when you did that. By sending that letter. It kind of helps ground you, so to
It
speak.
does. What they
Yeah,
call it, like snail mail, is
snail
like what it
mail.
was called. Yeah, and it makes me think of like people that never heard from their loved one, right? Or they find these letters, 60 years later, they find these
Right,
letters and the person never received it or never got it. And it's just like, man, like I said, it's just so quick for us to just get a message and, oh, did you get my message? And
right.
it's like boom,
And
right
then
there.
be mad.
I know, be
You
mad,
know,
and I've done
be
that.
mad.
Or you'll sit and you'll be like, why haven't they responded to me? And you'll go and look, you're like, oh, it was me. I haven't responded, when you're left on red. But
Right.
yeah, it was cool to I was like, I'm gonna send a letter because whoever gets letters, we get bills,
Yeah.
right? We get jury duty,
Yeah.
but you get recalls, but you
Yeah.
never get like fun stuff, I feel like in the mail. So it's kind of fun to receive something.
Yeah, I think that's a good thing. I think that's a good thing for us in today's society to kind of, continue because, like what you said, we definitely get the bills in the
Mhm.
mail, and the other unwanted items. So getting something that brings a little joy to our lives is
Yeah.
always a benefit,
Mm,
for our well-being. But, with all of that, sometimes, we have tendencies to hit snags in the road or sharp curves in the road, right? So and it can, we have these metaphorical ups and
mm.
metaphorical downs. So what do you do? How do you break the norm or break out of, if you get into a low spot, you get into a rut, how do you, like, break out of that and keep moving forward?
That's a good question. I feel like sometimes you have to either do something that you haven't done in a while. Like if there's something that you feel like you used to say you used to always go to the movies and you just stopped going. And like you say, you hit maybe that low or that pothole. And then maybe like, you know what I haven't done in a while for myself? Like go to the movies. Just
Yeah.
by myself. Like, let me just go and just, sit. Or sometimes I'll go and like try a new place. Or if I've driven past a random place and I'm like, oh, that always looks cute. Or I always see like their bakery sign. When I have like those low moments, I try to find something that's gonna like make me, even if it's like a little happy, right? Even if it's going to Barnes and Nobles and I know I'm not maybe gonna get a book, but just like the space, right? Or maybe it's like, you know what, I've always wanted to go into that donut place. I'm gonna get me a donut today.
Yeah.
You have to find those, I think, little moments. I think it's so funny. Everything comes back to being like an adult. Like you just have to find those little moments. I feel like to laugh or smile because um I always say like life is gonna definitely give you those moments where it's gonna feel like you don't have them, where you don't have moments to smile or to yourself or to laugh. So when I do feel like I'm in a rut, I try to find something just random and fun to do. Maybe you, I don't know, randomly buy stickers and you normally don't buy, like it seems like such a childish thing, but what's wrong with that also?
Right.
Maybe like, I haven't colored in forever. Maybe you color. Maybe you get you a little coloring book and you color. Sometimes they have like adult coloring books, which is so funny because they're just coloring books. And they
Right.
just put
Right.
adult on the front of it and it's like, oh, now it's a grown-up thing to do, the rules again. But
Yeah.
I have
The
an
rules.
adult I have an adult, it's just a coloring book. I have an adult coloring book. And
Yeah.
sometimes you just need to check out again and I feel like I'm in a rut, writing, going for a walk. Sometimes it's just taking yourself out of that space and putting yourself in another space. And sometimes that space still exists there, but at least you just kind of you take a breather from
Yeah.
it.
Okay. Yeah, that's good. I think doing those things, it's good for your mental health, right?
Mm,
It's good for that. It's good for, just having that break of scenery
mm.
can that can be monumental to, to changing your trajectory. And sometimes, a lot of folks can do something simple as, just taking a long shower,
Oh yeah.
right? Taking that long shower, and you kind of get it kind of clears your mind, and
Like a
it,
reset.
like a reset almost. Yeah. So it's finding those little things that we can do when we get into those positions to
Mm,
kind of refocus, so we can, move forward and not
yeah.
get bogged down in it. And then, of course, in the event that, we do get bogged down, just knowing that, okay, well, if I'm bogged down, I have like other avenues, other
Hmm.
resources that I can explore in order to, help navigate this, so
Yeah.
that I don't stay in the rut. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's the part of staying in it because that could be, God, it could be so easy. It's almost like it could be like quicksand.
Right.
Like the more you try to get out, it just seems like you're making it worse and worse.
Right.
So even if it's something small, I feel like don't ever judge how small something may be. Like you said, a hot shower. Then I'm like, oh,
Mhm.
that's not going to be enough to get me out of my rut. It could be something tiny. It doesn't have to be planning a trip to Paris. It can be something tiny that gets you out of that rut.
True. 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 Very
Mm.
true. Well, all that was that's all good to know. I'm happy that we had this opportunity to talk about some of these
Oh, me
things.
too.
Yeah. Clap, 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 clap.
Clap, 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 clap.
Yeah. So I just wanted to thank you for taking some time out of your busy schedule
Of
to
course.
to have this discussion with me. And I know that the things that you shared with us today will definitely help someone
Mm.
as they listen to this video, and maybe they'll hear something about maybe it's writing that letter, or get some tips on how to get out of that rut if they're stuck. So, definitely this is good information that can help some people
Mm.
down the road.
Yeah.
So thank you so much.
Well, thanks for asking and including me and getting to know these questions. It's always fun kind of having these discussions, especially when you don't have them as often, especially with your father. So it's cool
Hmm,
to have these questions asked, and if someone gets something from it, even better. But either way, it's still pretty cool.
outstanding. Well,
Mhm.
listen, I know you have a busy schedule and you have to get going. So again, I want to thank you, and we will see you very soon.
Well, thank you. I cannot wait. We leave Friday, so I'll see y'all very, very soon.
All right. Well, y'all be careful coming down here,
We
and y'all have,
will.
yep, and we will see you soon.
All right. See you soon.
All right. Love you.
Bye. Love you.
All right. Cheers.
Tschüss.
Today, we heard a remarkable story about an individual that is experiencing life in real time. We're talking about in terms of adulting, all the challenges and complexities that go along with that. My daughter shared with us what it's like to, or how she feels to send letters to an individual that she loves. She also went on to tell us about how or what she does in the event that she gets stuck in a rut, things that she can do to work out of that to make her life better. And then she went on further to tell us what does she do to escape all of the bombardment that goes on in life when life is beating you down, left and right. The things that, she does personally to break free from that. And I think ultimately what we learn by having these types of conversations is, even though you think you know an individual so well, when you have these conversations, you find out so much more than what's on the surface. And when you start getting lower beneath that surface level, you find out so much more.